This video is an update to the video about America's national debt I made last year. My research for this video is from World War II to the present. The research really surprised me and led me in different directions than I expected. In order to keep this video simple, I am using percentages rather than exact figures. Here is what I found. From the end of World War II through President Ford, the increase of debt was primarily between 3 and 5%, with a couple of years at 8%. There were also 3 years when the national debt went down, 2 years under Democrat Harry S. Truman, and 1 year under Republican Dwight D. Eisenhower. Even with the Korean War, Johnson's War on Poverty, and the Vietnam War, increases in debt remained at those levels. Since the rapid growth of the national debt started with the Carter administration, the rest of this video will also start there. This first chart shows each president and the yearly average of increase of debt during their time in office. It is clear that runaway spending is common for both political parties. During the Clinton presidency, the political parties worked together and there was a decrease of increase of the debt. This new column shows a percentage of money that had to be borrowed to support the spending during each president's term. Having to borrow 40 cents on every dollar spent under Barack Obama is beyond insanity. This does not include the debt to be created by Obamacare. Most of what you hear on the news and on the internet about federal spending is at best misleading. The federal budget is commonly reported to be the federal spending. Off-budget spending is commonly ignored. This chart shows that in recent years, about 1 of every $7 that is spent is off-budget. Where does all the off-budget money go? Who, if anybody, knows? Currency in circulation is controlled by the Federal Reserve. According to basic economics, if currency supply increases, it causes growth and inflation. If currency supply decreases, it causes a retraction, recession, or a depression in the economy. This graph from the Federal Reserve gives a better picture of the increase of currency. Now I have added GDP into the chart. GDP is the total spending in the economy. It is affected by many factors, including government spending, currency in circulation, and interest rates. To understand these numbers, you must remember that federal spending into the economy is counted in the GDP. This pie chart shows who owns the United States federal government debt. This does not include interagency debt or unfunded liabilities. Simply put, foreign nations and foreign investors own about 1/3 of the federal debt, while the Federal Reserve owns over 50%. I know most Americans don't understand that the Federal Reserve is not part of the federal government. It is a private banking system that has been given the authority to regulate and control the United States economy. In doing so, it loans money to the government and charges interest. Yes, the Federal Reserve could force the United States government into bankruptcy. Here's an interesting example of the Federal Reserve power. In December of 2007, the Federal Reserve proclaimed that we are entering a recession. Over the next 4 months, they pulled over $8 billion out of circulation, causing the 2008 recession. Around July, they started putting money back into circulation. This action not only stands out in this 5-year graph, but is also easily seen in the long-term graph we saw earlier. It appears that the Federal Reserve created the recession to force the election of Barack Obama. I have no other explanation. Why? Maybe because they thought he would spend more and increase the Federal Reserve stranglehold on the United States. This chart is probably the most disturbing of all. The last column shows GDP. Once again, that is all money spent in the economy compared to the federal debt. We have now passed a point where all the money spent in the economy cannot pay off the federal debt. Is this Barack Obama's fault? Yes and no. Both political parties are responsible for this insane deficit spending. Each blames the other, but both are responsible. Obama just happens to be the one in office at this time. These traitors in both political parties have knowingly destroyed our economy and are destroying our nation for political power. In my opinion, the only economic hope we have in this country is to throw out all the traitors in both political parties responsible for this insanity. Maybe we can slow down or lessen the effects. This spending has gone on too long and too far. There is no easy or painless way out of this economic mess we are facing. This is what is coming: increased monetization of the debt. In other words, print more money to pay off debt. As this is happening, we will see multi-digit inflation, decreased services, and higher taxes from all levels of government. Businesses will take action to survive, and many will just close. This scenario is typical and consistent to all countries that got too far in debt. I know some may say I am an alarmist, but I challenge you to look at all these numbers and come up with something different. The federal government knows what is coming and is taking actions preparing for martial law. The only question is, how long can this house of cards be held together? Numbers from my research come from the federal government, the Federal Reserve, and a small amount from various other sources. This video has dealt with the national debt and economic issues in America today. There are root causes for these problems, and some are greed, selfishness, and the turning of America away from the God of the Bible. It is the Christian faith that has kept America strong for so many years. If America does not turn from its wicked ways and return to the God of the founders, there is no hope for America, and she will fall. May God save the United States of America.